Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you my latest design team project for Country Craft Creations. And I used Ireland Forever, which is an exclusive paper collection from Country Craft Creations. That's a tongue twister. Anyway, you can see like part of this here is gone because I used the little pieces here to do like some of my string closures. So the pictures here, the small ones, were perfect for that. So I used those. So anyway, this is my album. It's like this. Let me give you some quick measurements. This is 7 3/4 by 9 with a 2-inch spine. And this is a remake of an album I made a few years ago. I actually never created the tutorial for it, and I've had several requests for it. So I decided to go ahead and make one with a tutorial now, so you can go ahead and make your own. I will leave a link down below to the original that I've made. So on the front cover is a little pocket. This one happens to have some magnetic closures, like that. And then we open up inside a nice large pocket on the front, room for some photo mats. Over here, so you can see right away there is a unique layout for this. It kind of it staggers, so it's kind of fun. So anyway, on the front here, this little string closure. So this is what not this one, it was a different one. I'll show you. So anyway, this opens up with a nice big pocket right there. On the original, I used magnets to keep some of this stuff closed. However, it's not really needed because the weight of things keeps stuff closed. But on the original, I did have magnets on here, but they are not needed. So nice big room up here. Photo mat, pocket. I did only use one paper collection to create this. And then this flips over. And then we come over here. So another string closure. This has photo mats that keep any loose photo mats and stuff in this kind of deconstructed style pocket or envelope rather, and then everything just stays contained just like this. And then the string closure will keep it all closed. So the nice idea, or the one better idea of using string closures versus magnets is if you load this up, your string controls closing it. If you use magnets, once you start stuffing it, your magnets are going to start losing connection with each other just because as you create bulk, things get bigger. So it's kind of like why I use kind of switching over more to the using like the string closure. So on this side over here is a belly band on the front with a pocket, and then the belly band right here. So that keeps the stuff there. Then this opens up like this. So you have two photo mats right there, a larger photo mat right there that would hold a 5x7 along with a pocket over here, right here. So on the original album I used this page here instead of the belly band. I had a set of waterfall elements on the front, and I do have a separate tutorial on making waterfalls, so I will link that down below if you choose to do what the original had with the waterfalls. And also right here too, you have room. I didn't add any kind of pull-out photo mats or anything, but these aren't attached yet, so if you wanted to, you definitely could add some photo mats, as well as on the envelope one here, you have room to go ahead and do that. And then the back side of the page, again, a crisscross corner pockets, which are always fun to make and adds a fun design element. Over here, I have a set of stacked pockets, and they work independently of each other. So these are 3x5 photo mats, so you have room to go ahead and stick in some photo mats, and they work on both sides. So you have them on both. And again, too, if you wanted to go ahead and create something to go ahead and pull out, you can put in something where it flips open. On the other album that I just did, the double mini album ones, where I had the page open up and it was stuffed in and you can pull it out. You could do something like that. You just don't want to go too thick because you don't have a whole lot of room here. This is the edge. So if you have something with tabs and stuff, they're going to get stuck and damaged by that. If you wanted something with tabs, you could expand the overall width of your album cover if you wanted to do something like that. So it opens up, again, belly band on this side, just like that, with the pocket. Over here, 2 larger photo mats, and then even larger 5x7, a nice pocket right here to go ahead and add photo mats. And then we just come back to, again, this fun little one, like that. So the other thing on the original, when I had opened up this spot, this is also a different design on here. I had these little half pages that flipped from the center. They would flip up, and then underneath was 2 more that flipped out. Those were tall, skinny ones. Functionally, they're kind of small, so it is hard to go ahead and use those. But basically, if you wanted to copy that one, you just measure the full distance of the page, cut it in half, or actually not cut it in half because you need to have a 1/2 inch for your binding, but just find the center, whatever it is. So say this is 8 inches, so half would be 4, so you would cut it at 4.5 and then score down the middle and then just do your flaps like that. If you look at the original one that I made, you could probably pretty much figure it out. It just works like photo flaps, kind of like these guys here. So, but realistically, they're kind of small, so they're not really too functional. So I think this way here, you have more room to display photos than the other one. So I did make a few improvements to it, just like that. And then opens up again, and on this side, right here, the paper is so pretty. So as the other one I had, the original album I made was kind of cutesy. So this way you can kind of see it gives it a completely different look by using different paper. So like that. And then the back cover, a nice large pocket. So, but again, if you look at it now this way, you can see all the fun different layers and stuff. So in the tutorial, I show you how I go ahead and create the binding to do these unique pages. So if you just look like this, 2 independent, as you can see down here further, they're not attached to each other, so they move independently. And then the different sizes are just kind of fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoy that, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. And following this video will be the tutorial. Alrighty, so enjoy. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So our covers, we need to have 2 pieces at 7 3/4 by 9, and our spine is going to be 2 by 9. I've went ahead and added score tape to the backs of all my pieces, and we're going to go ahead and start wrapping. So you need to have cardstock that is 2 inches bigger. So this piece here is 9 3/4 by 11. And so that way it sits in the center. Oops, you can see it better this way. This way it will sit in the center and you can get a nice wrap. So there's 2 ways to do this. So Country Craft Creations sells these spacers. They're 1 inch. So just like that. And we can stick it down. So now you just go ahead and put it down. Just like that. So you have nice spacing all the way around. If you don't have the spacers, you can just go ahead and use your scoreboard, and you are going to score at 1 inch, rotate once and score at 1 inch, and then you can just go ahead and put this on. so you can see your 1-inch mark. So you go ahead and set that right in. So then you have your 1-inch spacing there. And then for your spine piece, we're just going to stick all these down first, and then we'll do our wrapping. So our spine piece, this piece here, you want 2 inches on each side. So this piece is cut at 6 by 11. I'm not sure if I said that in the beginning or I might have messed that up, but this piece is at 6 by 11. So you're going to go ahead and score at 2 inches, and then rotate once and score at 1 inch. Just like that. Okay. And then this piece here is going to go on just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add score tape all around these 2 pieces here, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and added tape all around my edges here, so now we're just going to trim. So I'm using, this is a corner miter tool from Colorway Arts, just in case you're interested. If you don't have that, what you could do is go ahead and trim the corner, leaving just about that much. You can see on the screen right there, which is the same as the distance right there. But I just like to use the tools. And doing the covers this way is how Tamara does it, and I happen to love doing it this way now. So we're going to fold up on all 4. And we're going to remove our tape. Then using my bone folder, I'm just going to go ahead and press up against the chipboard. So I have a nice line against the chipboard, or a clean edge, I should say. And then flip it over, do the opposite side. And then return it. I'm going to take these off. Now you have the little part here that sticks up. We're just going to smush it down and do both sides. Like that. And then I'm going to push down where the paper overlaps here, so it's a little flatter. And then this side. And then we're just going to wrap the last piece. And over here. And go ahead and push these down. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one off camera. Alright, so I have both of these covered now. Now we're going to work on the spine. So what you want to do is, I like to take and get this folded first before the tape is on there, because it will fold better right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then here. And then this side. And then now we can add some tape. So we're going to add tape to each of the little ends there. So we're just going to put it right there. And then the other end. And I want to make sure I have tape full coverage, so I'm going to add some more. just like that. And because you folded now, you have little mark lines here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut to the right of the score line, so you have a little bit of spacing right there. And then the same thing on the other side. Then I can remove my tape. And bring this up over. Now because you went to the sides of that right there, you can see the overhang. That's what I'm going to use to go ahead and wrap alongside the chipboard. Just like that. And then the bottom side, or the other end rather. Same thing. And bring it up. And then we're going to wrap it, tuck it right inside there. Just like that. Okay. And then what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and angle from this corner out. Just cut that off. I'm going to do it to all the sides. Just like that. And now we're going to take this. So take right this part here. We're going to go back over again. And we're going to give it a good burnishing. And this side. So what we want to do is take this and push this in. So what we're trying to do is to get this part here to kind of go down around the chipboard, because what we're going to end up doing is taking our covers and putting them on top like this. So we want to try to get this part here flat in there. Just like that. So you can kind of see right there where we're trying to get it to go down flat. So we're going to go ahead and add some score tape. Don't go all the way up to the edge of your spine because you don't want any tape to show. So we're going to put tape on the cover. So we're going to trim this tape up. And then we're going to put some tape on our covers. So because of how this fits on here like this, if you flip it over like this here, you can see where it comes here. So you don't want tape to go down too far. So I like to just put tape in the center area here up until where our folds go over. If you go all the way, then you'll have to trim your tape. That one. And this one. Here. And we're going to go ahead and put this right on top. Making sure we are lined up. And the other side. Same thing. Just like that. And then that's how we already have this part made, and it lays nice and flat. It also looks nice and clean. All right, so let's continue. All right, so because of the different size hinges that we're going to be using on this book, we need to cover this area because I'm not really sure what's going to show on here. So I just want to make sure that I have black cardstock on it. So I did cut a piece at 8 3/4, and this is by 12. Put square tape on the whole back, and we're just going to go ahead and set it on that. And all right, move down a little bit. So we're going to just go ahead and stick it on. So we're going to put this on, make sure that we are even. That looks good to me. I'm going to press it down in the spine area first, and then I'm going to lift the cover here and push it in, and just keep bringing it up. I can push that down, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And press this down, and then that just cleans up all of the folds and stuff in the other papers. And now I'm just going to slowly keep working it to break those fibers so I don't get any cracking. And keep doing it till I can bring it down flat. Just like that. And then the same thing with the other side. And there we go. So now it's all nice and cleaned up, and we can go ahead and get started with our binding. All right, so we're going to get started on our hinge. So you need a piece that is 8 1/2 by 4 3/4, and we are going to score on 1 inch, 2, 2 3/4, and 3 3/4. Okay, that's what we need right there. And we can go ahead and fold. Just like that, making sure when you are folding over that your paper is lining up even to the top and the bottom. That way your pages will sit even as well. And then I like to go ahead and fold it back the opposite way. That way your pages will flow nicely going back and forth. Just like that. All right, so right here is what you have. So this is going to be 2 pages. So basically we are going to go ahead and fold it like that. So we're going to put some tape on. And then we have the 2 hinges, so just need it on 2 sections. just like that. So we can go ahead and remove the tape. And we have a 3/4 inch gusset in the middle. So we can go ahead, just fold that over like that. And then do the other side. So then we have that, so it becomes like a U. And real quick, what you want to do is grab a pencil. So this is how your hinges look right now. So these grids here are 1 inch and they have a little mark. So you're going to go from the bottom. So this is our hinge. Like this, it's the U shape. So from the bottom up on the hinge, you're going to go up 1/2 inch and make a mark. Whoops. Make a mark. And you're going to do that top and bottom, both sides, to both hinges. And this is just a guideline. Like that. There you go. And we can go ahead and put tape in the center of this. And I do see right here I have a little bit of overhang, and I don't want that because I want my pages to sit flat. So I am just carefully going to trim that up. Okay. Looks good. I'm going to put score tape in the center here. So my 5/8 looks like it's going to fit perfect. So that's what we have right now. So now we need to go ahead and take our book and find our center. So because this is a 2-inch spine, 1 inch in the center, or 1 inch would be the center from either side. And then we do the same thing at the top. Make a little mark. And then the same thing on my spine. I'm going to find the center. So that would be, it's going to be 3/8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3/8 is the center. So a little mark there. And at the bottom. So our center marks on our spine, basically we're going to go ahead and, oh, I forgot to mark up. So it's a 1/2 inch difference between the top and the bottom because the book is 9 and the binding is 8.5. So split the difference. So that would be 1/4. So mark there and a mark there. So then I should be good lining it up just like that. And actually, I might be able to make sure I'm lined up. I'm going to hold this side down and I can just lift all this up actually, which I think is going to work perfect. Nice. So that was easy. So there's our hinges and we should be perfectly centered. All right, so now we have to go ahead and create a couple more hinges. All right, so now we need to do another hinge. So the first hinge I'm going to call binding A, and then this one's going to be binding B. So you need a piece that is 6.5 by 3 inches. You're going to score at 1 inch, 2 inches, and 2 1/4. Okay. And we want to go ahead and fold on all those score lines. Just like that. And then go back and do it the opposite way. Okay, so this is what you look like. So you got 1, 1, quarter, 3/4. So now you're going to go ahead and apply score tape to your first hinge. Just like that. So this is what you have right now. And you can just go ahead and take and stick this onto the other half of your hinge. So then right now this is what you have. So you have your 1-inch hinge, your 1/4 inch gusset, and you have a 3/4 inch piece that we're actually going to attach to the other binding. So our 1 inch, we're going to go ahead again and make our 1/2 inch marks from the base of the hinge. Just like that. And what we're going to do is apply score tape to this side of our hinge. So this is our main hinge with the doubled over. So you can see height wise right here, it's not quite the same. So we can go ahead and apply some tape on that. And I'm focusing more towards the gusset. So I'm using 5/8 inch tape, so it's pretty much covering the whole thing. So again, this is what we have. Now we need to take our book. So first thing is we need to find our center of our hinge. So because it is 6.5, so 3 and let's see, 6.5, 3 3¼ is going to be our center. So I'll measure up 3¼ inches. And it should be, let's make sure, yep. And then these hinges here are 8.5, so 4¼ would be our center here as well. So just do one of my first hinge, just made a little tick mark in the middle and a little tick mark in the middle on that piece. Again, this is our doubled over hinge. So we can go ahead and lay that down, and this, so if you see, you have, yeah, so you have the score line here. Let's see. So you have your 1/4 inch gusset, and right here is where the score line is for this piece. You want to match it up even to right here. Let me see if I can zoom in. So like right here is our flap. And if you lay this over the top just like that, and it looks a little blurry, but it goes like that. So if you line up the 2 dots right here, so this is the dot on the smaller hinge and then on the bigger hinge, and then I'm lining up here to here on the score line. If I hold it all, maybe I can stick it all down even. That looks good. So now you have this hinge here and this little flap here. So what we want to do is go ahead and add a piece of score tape to the 1/4 inch gusset here, because I want this here to go flat. Let me zoom out. So I want this piece here, this little flap, I want the 1/4 inch gusset here to be attached to the book. So you can either glue it down or tape it. So I'm going to tape it. just like that. So you can see, just have it like that. And we're gonna stick it down right there. So now you have just like that. So this will be one page, this will be a page, this is a page. So we need to go ahead and just burnish that down because it feels a little stiff. So we just triple layered that now. All right, so we need to go ahead and do the center ones. And I think the outside one is the same as this one. All right, so I went ahead and created another binding bee. I guess I'm calling this one here. So I went ahead and created another one just like that because I need to go ahead and put it on the back hinge. So I've already made it and made my little marks. And I just need to find my center on here, which again is 4 1/4 over. Like that. And, oh, I did it on the wrong end here. The center of this is 3 1/4. So now we're doing it the backwards way. So you have your hinge on this side, your 1/4 inch gusset, and then this is the piece we're going to attach to our hinge. Again, the fold of the score line on this part, the first one here, is going to line up to the score line on that page. So making sure we're centered. And that looks good to me. So stick it down. Pressing the first the big hinge down and then making sure we're lined up for that one. So you can see right here, this is my 1/4 inch gusset for this one, which is not attached yet. So now I'm going to add 1/4 inch tape to that one. And stick this one down. So now we just stuck that little 1/4 inch down. So this is what we have. Let me make sure this is going to fold nice. So right now, this is what we have. So we have the 6 1/2 inch, 8 1/2, 8 1/2, 6 1/2. Now we're going to go ahead and build the ones for the center. All right, and now you're going to need 2 pieces. So this will be binding C, 2 pieces at 4 by 3, and you're going to score on the 3 inch at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 2 1/4. And just like before, same thing, we are going to fold on all the score lines. And we'll go ahead and do it both directions. This is what you have right there. And then the second one. Like that. All right, so you have that right there. We're going to go ahead and add score tape to our 1 inch, our first 1 inch part of our hinge. And we're going to fold this over. So then right now, this is what you have. You have the 1 inch hinge, 1/4 inch spacer, and the 3/4 inch piece that we're going to attach. So you can see that size difference. And do the same thing to the next one. like that. Fold it over, oops, and again, same thing. And then we can take, and on our 1 inch, we're going to go ahead and do the 1/2 inch again, marking it top, bottom, both sides. And same thing with this one. Okay, and then because these are 4 inches, we're going to use, so right here, so again we have this, we're using the 1 inch part, we're going to mark it at, oh no, we marked this end. Mark this end at 2 inches. You want the attached piece. So the 3/4 inch piece, we're going to mark at 2 inches. Okay, and then we're going to add tape to that part. And the other one. So we're adding the tape to, so if you were to look at this right here, you can see this part here, sort of. That's where this piece here was folded over. So that's the back side. So we're working on that part. And I'm going to take my book. So we're going to go into the center hinges here. So just like that. And I am going to mark 2 inches down. And I'm going to put a little mark there, and then 2 inches up from the bottom as well. So because our little hinges here are 4 inches, so 2 is the center of that. So the same way we attach the little side pieces, we're going to attach these pieces. And you're going to want to make sure that the first score line down, this one here, is going to line up with the score line right here on your hinge. So basically you're going to go like that. Okay, and you're lining it up to the center of this, to the center mark right here. So you have them centered. So it should be all the way to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it looks good. If I hold this straight up, then it looks like I can do it that way. So I have that on just like that. And then if you lift this up, you have the little 1/4 inch gusset right in here. And that's what we're going to stick down to the binding part here. And then we're going to do the same thing to the bottom one. Just like that. And then now the little 1/4 inch spots here and here, we need to add some score tape because we need to stick that down. And on this one, and then take that off. And stick that down there. And then this one. So I'm holding up the spine, the first hinge on the bigger part, just so I know, like, I'll have it straight. And let's go ahead and burnish that in now. and then just go ahead and work them so they are going to go ahead and lay flat. There's a lot of layers here, so you want to make sure that it is going to fold nicely. All right, those look good just like that. So what you're going to end up with is a 6-inch page, 8.5-inch page, 2 4-inch pages, another 8.5-inch page, and a 6.5-inch page. So 2 6.5, 2 8.5, and 2 4s. All right, so once you have all of those done now, what you want to do is go ahead and clean up some of this. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all of my little guidelines, except for the 1/2-inch marks we put on our hinges that we want to stay. But everything else that we used for guidelines, I'm going to get rid of. You don't have to worry about the ones on the top of these. We're going to cover those over with paper, so those ones won't matter much. So now what we need to do is go ahead and add some score tape. So I'm using 3/8 score tape, and I'm going to put it along the top part of my hinges. So front and back. Could have done this before we attached. Probably would have been a little easier. However, it is already a complicated system, so we're just going to do it step by step. Just like that. And then our little ones. And then the tape is going to show you a little bit more of what we're looking like here. You'll see it better than on the black, or the white tape on the black. And last one. There we go. So that gives you a little better look at what we have now for all of our hinges and stuff. All right, so now we have all the tape on. We need to trim it up a little bit. So let me get some good scissors. Not those. All right. So remember the 1/2-inch marks that we made on our papers? So what you want to do is cut from the 1/2-inch mark up. So whether it works, I'm going to do it better this way. So yeah, so we're just going to trim off all those little pieces. As you can see, I'm not trimming very much of them. And let's do this one. And I'm just going to turn it. Yeah. And there we go. That's that. I don't know where it went. All right. So now we have all those trimmed up. So now we can get started on our pages. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work on the 6.5 inch spine section. So I've already done the back one. So what you're going to do is they're going to mirror image each other. So the insides will both be like this, and then the outsides are going to be the pocket that goes like this and then flips up, and then you have two little corner pockets here. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the front one. So to get started, A piece is going to be 7 by 6.5, and your B piece is going to be 7 by 7.5, scoring at the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 7 inches. We're going to take this one and we're going to trim it. Just like that. And then fold on the score lines. So this technically will be our base page. And flip it over. I'm going to take this piece, set it on top. Making sure we're even. It looks good like that. And we're going to stick it down. Just like that. So now we have this little tunnel. We're going to take that and take our book and go ahead and give it a test run on the 6.5 inch piece. So it looks like it's going to fit good just like that. So you have your little 1/2 inch tick marks that you made right there and right there. So this is going to go ahead and go down on it and stop at those little 1/2 inch tick marks. So that way you know you'll be even. And set it on. And just like that. Okay. We're going to work on the front part of that page right now. So our next piece, which is going to be piece C, which is 7 by 7, and score on one of the 7 inch marks at 1/2 inch. And we're going to trim that back. And then fold down. And then now this piece here, do I have a paper clip? Probably not. All right, so this piece here, right here, we're going to take this, has the piece at the top, and we're going to put it at the top of our page, just like that. I'm just rotating so I can get it even. And this should fit exactly on the top. And that looks good to me. So we're going to stick it down. So now right now we have this, flips up. Next piece is going to be D piece, which is 5 by 7. Score on the 5 inch at 1/2 inch. We can go ahead and fold this back and then trim off the edges. This is going to be the top of our envelope. And then again, same thing now, right? This is the piece we just put on. This is going to go right on the top. Make sure we're all even. Just like that. And then our next piece now is going to be E, which is a pocket. And that is 4 by 8, scoring on the 8 inch side at 1/2 inch and 7.5. Rotate it and score on the 4 inch at 1/2 inch. And again, like I said, it's a pocket, so we're going to trim up the edges here. And fold back. And then give them a good burnish. Take our book, Now this is the flap we just put on, and the whole big flap, so that's part of our pocket. So we're going to go ahead and set this on. It's going on the bottom. And looks good to me, so I'm going to stick it down. That. And just go ahead and bring it up. So now we just have our pocket right here. We're going to flip up our whole pocket now. And we need one piece that is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. 4 3/4 side, score at a 1/2 inch. We're going to fold and burnish. This piece we don't have to trim. So we're going to take our piece back here. Again, this is our envelope. This is going to go right at the top. So we're going to put it, center it to the space, and keep it just below the fold line of your envelope. So I am barely a 1/16 of an inch away. You don't want to put it on the score line because you don't want it to hang up on it. That way everything will still fold over nice. We have that there. And the last piece for the front of our pocket is going to be a piece that is 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. And you're going to score on all 4 sides at a 1/2 inch. And we are going to cut this from the corner down to this corner. Just like that. So that was our piece. We're going to trim it up. That. There we go. We're going to fold back. And make sure when you do fold, nothing is overhanging there. And this one, same thing. So now we're going to take our page. We're going to flip our envelope back up again. So this is the flap we just put on. These are going to go right in the corners down here. Stick that one down. That side. Let's go over to this corner. That looks good. And there we go. So that is how the front looks right there. And the back page, you're going to do it the same thing. You're just going to do all of what we just did now on the back side. So now we just have to do the back of the base page on the first page. So for that one, you're going to need 4 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 4 3/4, scoring at the 5 3/4 at a 1/2 inch. And you don't need to trim these ones up at all, but we just need to fold and burnish. Just like that. And now we're going to take our page. So we're going to stagger these around the pocket. So this one here I'm going to put on, and I'm about 1/4 inch from the bottom. I'm going to stick that one on there. And then I'm going to take one and I'm put it on the other side 1/4 inch from the top. And then open those up, and then this one here I'm going to put down over this side. Like that. And then this one I'm going to put on the top closer to the spine. And there we go. So this one is just like that one right there. All right, so those are how those 2 pages are done, and we'll move on to the next. All right, so now we're going to work on the 2 longer 8.5-inch pages. So I went ahead and I've already created this one. So it has a belly band with a pocket. Oops. Has a belly band with a pocket, flips open, 2 4x6 photo mats here, 5x7 photo mat, and a pocket. So that is going to go on the outside part. So for this one, again, that will go on the outside towards, it's going towards the little envelope pocket. All right, so let's go ahead and get that started. We're going to start off with piece I, which is 8.5 by 7, and piece J, which is 9.5 by 7. So this is going to be our base page. So we can go ahead and fold back. And then we're going to trim off those corners. Just like that. Giving them a good burnish down. And then we can go ahead and set this one on top. So I is going to go on top of J. And it looks good. Let's stick that one down. Just like that. And then we can go ahead and set this on the hinge. So go ahead, test it out first. Make sure it's going to fit. And I need to trim a little bit. And let's see, do I need to trim this side? All right, let's see if we fit better now. And looks better. So you want to make sure you're going down to your 1/2-inch markings on your spine. Looks good there. There, let's make sure this side looks good. Yep. So you can stick that down now. All right, so now we're going to flip it this way. So then our next piece is going to be piece K, which is 8.5 by 7.5. And on the 7.5-inch side, you're going to score it a 1/2 inch. And then we can snip those corners. And we're going to go ahead and fold this down. Give it a good burnish. This piece here is going to go right on the top with the binding part we're putting on the edge down here. And that looks good. And then our next piece is going to be a belly band. So this is going to be piece L, which is 3.5 by 9.5. And on the 9.5-inch side, we're going to score it a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. And fold these back. Give them a good burnish. And go ahead, set this on the middle. I'm just going to eyeball it. And that looks good. And then down at the bottom, let's go ahead and attach this one. Just like that. And now we're going to have piece M, which is 4.5 by 3. This is a pocket that's going to go on the front of the belly band. So on the 4.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and at 4 inches, rotate on the 3 inch side, score at 1/2 inch. Now we're going to trim it all up. Go ahead and burnish all that down. This is going to go right on the front of the belly band. Just like that. And that one's stuck down. And our next piece is going to be a long pocket. This is piece N. This is 3 by 9.5. On the 9.5, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and the 9, rotate it to the 3 inch and score at 1/2 inch. And we're going to trim up this pocket now. And go ahead and fold and burnish. And this is going to go, so we're going to open up this flap here. This pocket is going to go over here. And stick it down. The pocket is going in this direction, so if there is stuff in it with the flap over it, everything will stay contained. It won't fall out. The next pieces are piece O, which is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, scoring on the 4 3/4 at 1/2 inch. Those are going to go on the flap on this side. So just keeping it a little away from the bottom. Like that. And then this one over here, almost to the score line, but not quite. You don't want it to keep your flap from folding. Okay. And then the last piece is going to be piece P, which is 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. So this will be a 5 by 7 photo mat. Go ahead and burnish, and then that is going to come over here, and it's going to go on the side with the longer pocket, just like this, centering it to the space. Again, not going quite up to the score line so it doesn't hold it. And then this will work as a flap to keep everything also in your pocket. And there you go. And that's how you do those. So you do this page here exactly the same. You just put it to the back side of it. So these two parts here are nice and clean. All right, so now we're going to do piece Q, which is 6.5 by 6.5. We're going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. And what we're doing is creating this unique little corner pocket that overlaps itself. So I'm going to cut from here to here. Just like that. So this is what I have. Now I'm going to trim all of my corners because it is a pocket. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and put this on. So I'm going to put the inside one on first. Give it a good burnish. So I'm going right up to the edge of my page, not the binding, but the page. I put it on just like that. And then this side. Oh, and then this one here is going to go on the other side. And then when it's decorated, it'll look really neat the way it's overlapping. going to go right here, all the way up to the edge and the bottom. Just like that. And then this side here. And there we go. So that's how that looks. All right, so now we're going to work on the little 4-inch pages. So what you're going to need is one piece at 4x7 and one piece, that will be piece R. Piece S is going to be 5x7, scoring on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 4.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and fold that. And we're going to trim our corners a little bit here. Like that. And then we give it a good burnish. And we're going to go ahead and set this piece on top. Looks lined up. And then this side. Oops. And come over here and make sure we test it first. Let's see if this side fits better. Looks good. So we're going to go ahead and stick it on. Again, putting it down to those 1/2 inch marks. Looks good. All right, and then now we need piece T, which is 6 pieces. So you're going to need 6 for each one of those flaps. And these are 5x2. And you're going to score on both ends of the 5 at 1/2 inch and 4.5, and then rotate it in at the 2-inch side and score at 1/2 inch. 2 of them you're going to go ahead and do full tape around, and the other 2 you're just going to tape like this because they're going to be stacked pockets. So go ahead, trim them. Just like that. These ones here, we're not going to fold down the bottom line at all, because that's what we're going to tuck into our pocket. So you'll do 3 on the front, 3 on the back. Just like that. So let's go ahead and flip them all over. So this is the bottom, that's the bottom. So go ahead and fold. This one is going to go on the bottom down here. And we're going to stick it down like that. And then we're going to take these little pieces here. We're only folding the sides. We're not going to fold the bottom. And then we're going to tuck that right in here like that. And whoops. There we go. Whoops. Oh, shoot. All right, let's fix this. Much better than this one. And then this one goes right in the top just like that. There we go. Then we'll flip it over. We're going to do the back side. All right, I'm going to fold on this one, and at the bottom. And then we can attach it. And stick that down. And then our two stacked pockets are next. I almost folded on that bottom. Oops. And then the last one. And put that one in here. Just like that. There we go. So now you have a set of stacked pockets on both those sides there. So now we have to go ahead and do our pocket on the front and the back. All right, and then the last piece that we need is going to be piece U, which is the inside, front, and back pocket. So I just put that one there. I'm going to put the one on the front. So you're going to cut a piece at 8 1/4 by 3 1/2, scoring on the 8 1/4 at 1/2 inch, 7 3/4, rotating and scoring on the 3 inch at 1/2 inch. And I can trim that up. Okay, and then we can stick that down. Just like that. Give it a good burnish. And then this one's going to go right here. I'm going to center it to this space and bring it down towards the bottom. It's close. I am probably in 1/16, 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. And go ahead and stick that down. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make a cover for the front of our album. So the cover is going to, the pocket is going to go right on the front here. So the pocket itself is going to be 6 by 4 1/2. So it will fit just like that. So there's enough space. You can see the cute little hat right there. So you're going to start off with a piece at 6 by 4 1/2, and this has no score lines. Then for the flap for the envelope, you need one piece at 6 by 4 1/4 and score at a 1/2 inch. And then you need another piece at 7 by 5, and you're going to score on both sides at a 1/2 inch and the bottom. And we're going to do this little cut that you see here. However, I know it is harder to see on the black paper, so we're going to do it on white just so you can see it better. So I'm going to go ahead and score it first. Okay. So this is with the score lines now. We're not folding nothing yet. You're going to take your ruler and you are going to measure over 1.5 inches up. So the bottom, the score line is down here. We're going to work on the top right now. So from the top, we are going to measure over 1.5 inches. Make a mark right there. And then on the other side, same thing, 1.5 inches. Yep. Now I'm just going to flip it so I can do this, but from the top down, you're going to measure down 3 inches. So there's that mark. So now we're down 3, and the paper itself is 7 inches, so the middle will be 3 1/2. So from the cut edge, we're going to measure over 2, 3 1/2, and that is right here. So there's my 3-inch mark. So let me just make this one a little more centered. Just so I can come over more. So right here. So this is 3 inches down from the top, the longer line, and then the little dot is the center from both sides. So from that little dot, I'm going to place my ruler at a 1/2 inch on the dot. Just like that. And then I am going to measure to a 1-inch line. Just like that. So now I have a 1-inch line across. So from this point and this point, I'm going to connect them. Like that. Just like that. And then that's what I would cut out with a craft knife. So let me just show you. Just like that. Now, if you have any pencil marks, you would want to go ahead and erase those. To make the pocket would simply be cutting off the little tips on the corners, cutting here and here, just like that. These are all garbage now. And then you can fold, and then you have your pocket. So to go ahead and do the pattern paper, let me find some scrap pattern paper. Okay, I'm just going to use some craft colored cardstock, so that will look easier. So what I had is, this is what I have. To cut your pattern paper, you're going to lay this over. So I cut this a 1/4 inch smaller than this, which remember is our first piece is 6 by 4.5. So I cut this at 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. So being a 1/4 inch smaller, it will fit right on. Just like that, so you can see the spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it right where I want it, flip it, trace the back, just like that. And then now I'm going to take my ruler, and on this one here, there's like a 1/8 line. So what I'm going to do is put this on right over top of the 1/8, and I'm going to retrace out. So as you can see, just like that. So now I have this. So then the center will now be, so now I'll cut out the new lines. Just like that. So when you are doing this, you're going to do it so you can, the front part where you put here is what you want to see when you cut, and then you're going to do all the tracing and cutting on the back. So then when you go ahead and put down your pattern paper, this is what you have. All right, so anyway, that's how you're going to do that. So let me go ahead and get mine started so I can go ahead and cut this out with my pattern paper, and then we can start attaching. All right, so I went ahead and inked and cut out my pattern piece. So let's go ahead and start doing some assembly first. This one I want to do some magnets instead of a string closure. I know I haven't really done magnets a lot, so I figured it was time. So I'm going to go ahead and add tape to this guy. This is my flat part. We're going to trim this back. just like that. Now you're going to want to use your base piece. That's the 6 by 4.5. We're going to go ahead and fold so you cannot see the tape. So we're going to fold that one down. And then we're going to take our base piece. We're just going to tuck it in. Should be the same size, so everything should line up. So make sure there's no overhang. And that looks good to me. I'm going to make sure I'm pushing it in tight to this piece here. Just going to open it up, stick it down. So now I have my flap. And then we can go ahead and push that up, attach our pocket, give it a trial run first, making sure everything fits good. And when you're lined up, make sure there's not going to be no resistance there. So now we're going to stick this one down. Just like that. And again, before I do the sides, that looks like it's going to fit good. So, sure I'm lined up again. And right there. And then again, just make sure, give everything a good burnish. You don't want no resistance. Okay, so this is what we have. If you want, you can angle the corners, do whatever you want. I think I'm going to angle mine. So I just do that real quick. And I'm only doing that now just because I want to make sure everything's going to look good. So that looks good there. So all I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead. I just want a couple marks so I know how far down my flap goes down. So I just made those little marks there. And I'm going to get my 2 little metal discs. And I'm just going to put one on each side, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead. That one. Just like that. Next thing I want to do is I want to make sure, so I make these marks here because I want to make sure when I close the cover, when I put my magnets up here, that I'm not going to end up sticking my magnets on like right at the edge and then you'll see them. So this way I know where the cover is. My pattern paper from here will cover nice. So now I just want to see where I'm going to put those. So I'm going to put 2 little glue dots right there and there. And just real quick, make a stamp mark with it. Don't keep it down too long because obviously we know how quickly the glue dries. So put that there. And right now, actually, I can go ahead and put my pattern paper on down here. So let's get some tape on that. And I'm going to use 1/4 inch. You can also use glue. And then I'm just going to reinforce this with some tape. And then line this up where I want it. Let me turn it this way. That looks good. And I'm going to remove the tape underneath from my magnets, as well as the tape on the sides here. So that one's down good. And then this one. I'll still have to put some pattern paper in the center right there. But for now I have that. So I still have my marks from my glue. So I'm going to take my magnets and I'm going to add a little bit more glue. That. And add a little bit of tape. Again, just to try to help keep them in place. And I'm going to cut a piece of pattern paper for right here. All right, so I've gone ahead and cut out all of my pieces, taped them up. So with her, she is going to just be peeking out of the back here. So she looks cute just like that, peeking out. So I'm going to stick her down. Oh, it's not that easy. Hold on. Let's try it again. So she was going to go like this. Trying to make sure this lines up with the cut lines of the other pattern paper, so she looks good. And then this is the piece for here, so let's first line it all up. So the bottom I know is right. And then what I'm going to do is remove my tape from this one, this. And the only other thing I want to do is just add a tad bit of glue, so if my magnets do slip, they're not going to slip far. Yeah. And then press it all down. Now I don't want to crease too much around the magnets because I don't want to leave the impression of the magnets there. So just rub in lightly, so you can see the magnets like that, but if you just kind of look at it at first, you don't really see the magnets. So just don't crease down a lot around the magnets. And then you can hear that lovely little snap. And then this one. And then the rest of the tape. And then there you go, just like that. So now what I want to do is add some tape to the back. So you don't want any lifting of your cover. So I'm going to go ahead and put quite a bit of tape on the back. You can also add glue. Now I'm going to to go ahead and pretty much eyeball it. So I feel like that looks good just like that. I also feel like I'm pretty even. Oops, because my book falls apart. Yep, eyeballed it good. So let's turn it like this. Again, looks good like that. Might want to start by lifting these little bits up first. Alright, let's try it again. So I'm going to center on. Looks good. Like that, and then I can just pull the rest off. And now I'm just going to go ahead, reinforce it with a little bit of glue. And there you go, just like that. So that's how you do the little mini envelope on the cover. And then your pocket is shallow enough so you can see what you have in there. But super cute. Alright, so anyway, we are basically done with this. So the little cover on the front, let's do a quick walk through. We have a pocket here, and then over here, the bigger pocket. And then we lift up. That's what we have. And then over here, just like that. And then all four sides there will hold all the papers in. And then a belly band with a pocket on the front. We open up for a nice little bit of some photos. Right here, a pocket for more. Over here, if you wanted to add like larger pull-out photo mats or something, you could do that. You could also do that here on the envelope if you want. And then little pockets right there. And then a set of little stack pockets. Again, crisscrossing. Belly band pocket. Pocket right there. And then we repeat again. And then fold out again. And then the back cover with a big pocket there, and then the back. All right, so the only thing left for me to do is go ahead and do all of the photo mats and stuff and fill in my pockets, but the construction of the album is all done. You can see you have a lot of room for expansion because you don't already have an alligator mouth, so lots of room for photos right there. Anyway, if you enjoyed this tutorial, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.